Hello and welcome to JDStone Creations. My name is Johnny and this is the restoration of my Korg R3. Well, kind of restoration, more refurbishment. A couple of little bits on it didn't work and a couple of cosmetic stuff I did to it. Hope you enjoy it. Vocoder mit exklusiver Multiple Modeling Technologie. Bis zu Stimme Polyphony Zweisach Timbro. Marvelous. Whose house smells like this? See, you don't get the fun of this when you buy instruments new. Just part of a box, okay. Oh, I've hit the microphone. Oh, bloody hellfire. Again, whose house smells like that? Oh, right. I wonder if I can zoom in. There we go. Hello. Lesson 1 of cleaning dust from stuff. Don't bother using cloths. They don't work. Paintbrush. It goes under the dial and that. Or alternatively, you can just pull the dial off. I know what I'm doing. Clean the keys. What have I spent? 4 minutes doing that, and it looks immediately better. Shiny, nice keys. Grubby, sweaty keys. Yes, lovely. Well, that's a much cleaner R3, and now I can actually touch it without going. When you're at this kind of angle, which is playing angle, all of the notes are above the knobs. Could you tell me which is tempo there? Nope, it's that one over there. Right. Do we plug it in and test it? Ugh. Yep. Power. Yep, that's okay. Let's do audio. Left is right and right is right. Huzzah! Headphones on over my hat. Marvellous. Right, Korg R3. Okay. That's just the initial program, so cool. Ooh. Yeah, that's nice. Cool. Ooh. That's cool. Yeah, that's worth it. I'm keeping that if it can. It just keeps going forever. That's awesome. So those knobs work. Tempo and the thingamid don't really. Ooh, arpeggiator. And somehow, after all that, I've managed to get back to the original value of all of the buttons. God, I'm good. Right, that's enough testing. On to disassembly and trying to fix the dials, I guess. Boom! Marvellous. Yeah! Right, so that should just lift away. Oh! that's more complex than I thought it would be. Right. Oh, while we're here, may as well. Lovely. You see, it's the dust that smells. Once you remove the dust, then there can't be any. You can't trap smell in plastic. It'd look quite cool with like wooden side panels. This just drill holes, keep a washer on the inside there, and then that'd work, wouldn't it? Great thing is with these screws is that I think all of them are exactly the same. Don't need to remember which one goes where, because it doesn't matter, does it? Boing! There we go. Ooh, okay. Tempo knob. Let's have some fiddling. This is where I need a quick release camera thing, isn't it? Whee! That's where the rotary knob on the front connects. That's the tempo knob that also has a problem. Could do with my torch here, really. Yeah, that's been tampered with, hasn't it? Definitely. Right, so I guess we're undoing more. Oh Christ, that screw was missing as well. There we go. So yeah, my answer to could I make a panel on this? It's not made of plastic. It's probably no, because actually that's quite a complex piece of work. I don't mean dials, knobs. Still got one screw left. It's hiding behind a contact that's meant to be connected. I think that means something wasn't earthed. Oh God, some of those screws are different. I don't think they're different because of the manufacturer, though. I think they're different because of the halfway who last had this thing. Boing! Whoa! Why is that so loose? Why is that like that? Yeah, so we've got the rotary dial here, which clearly isn't meant to have that much movement in it. To be honest, it looks as if someone's had that open already. The dial over here is just wobbly as hell. If you compare that to either of these, they're just solid. Like, not solid, but they're just... oh, they just turn. I suppose I'll have to delve a bit deeper to find out. Haha! It is the next day, and the budgies are singing. I got up and I couldn't resist fiddling about with the Korg. And I discovered something quite quickly, actually. This rotary thingamajig, which is normally held on by these little thingamajigs, in the middle of that, there you go, can you see there's some tiny little kind of branch thingamajigs? What they are, which connect different parts of the back of the rotary encoder. The back of the rotary encoder thing has a cool pattern on it. So depending on where that clicks round, those little tiny teeth will touch certain bits. However, I did notice that when you look at it from pretty much directly above, oh, that's better, that there aren't 8 on the left hand side, because one of them has folded underneath on the far left. So hopefully I can just go in with my knife and very gently move that out. I need 2 hands for that, and also my memory card's about to fill up, so join me again when hopefully I've sorted this. And then for whatever reason I decided to do a voiceover from now on. No idea why, but there we go. So there's your contacts. There's now 8 of them. It was literally just... If you cross your fingers, that's exactly how those little teeth were. It was amazing. So, that was basically it. You put the encoder back on, fold those little teeth over the top of it. Just did that with a pair of pliers and a strong but very, very careful hand, because you really don't want to jab an entire pair of pliers through a circuit board. Yeah, turned lovely, and that was it. That solved it. That, however, cannot quite be said for the tempo knob. Now, see that it says alpha on the side there? And on the next little video, see that it says B5 and K? Well, that's the make or manufacturer and the specification of the pot. These ones are 10K. Not entirely sure why. Wouldn't have thought it'd make particularly any difference on a completely digital application, but there you go. It does, and after a bit of research, I found them. Now, the crucial thing is here, I didn't do an eBay search. I did a Google image search, just so I could find what looked right, and then from there, avoided all of these utterly terrible searches on eBay and found the correct ones. They gave measurements, so from there took the caliper gauge, went to the keyboard and made sure they were at least, I gave it sort of like 0.5 millimeter tolerance, you know. But yeah, it all measured up fine. Then it was time to finish a job that I sort of started earlier, which was because, obviously, I've ordered these pots now, but they were from Singapore, so they weren't going to get here for at least another couple of weeks. So, I used that time wisely and cleaned the hell out of this keyboard. It still smelt of... I don't even know what of, but essentially, first job, dust any of the brush. No, brush any of the dust off. From both the keys, under the keys, on top of the keys, just everywhere, because as long as you have any of the dust still in there, it will still smell of whatever house or whatever garage it was in before. So when I actually said you don't need a cloth earlier, I actually meant you don't need a cloth for dusting, but you do for wiping muck off the side of plastic keys. And boy, there was plenty of it. I'll do the rest of the keys later. I'm off to the workshop. My new parts for it arrived. Tempo knobs, or rather specific pot. I officially can't see any of the prongs from this side anymore, so... Still, it's off, and it's not completely destroyed. There we go. Unfortunately on this side we've got the actual contact that's meant to be on the board. Let's see if we can't just... There we go. Let's hope that was even in shot. Yep, plug a thing into that. Oh, that's visually starting to go in. Okay, I've now got it in a point. It's now clamped underneath, balanced in the right place, I hope. So hopefully, if I just continually heat these three. Right, it's not all the way down, but I've got it close. The way I did it was I put a bit of extra solder onto it. Little tip, if you're using lead solder, make sure that you're exhaling. Do not breathe in this smoke. Right, is that on? The 3 are in, and that, hopefully, is how you put in a new pot. Ugh. The other thing that I found out is that the USB port doesn't work. I don't know how well you can see it there, but it's been tampered with before. It does not work at all. Since I don't have the USB thing yet, put it back together and see what happens. Here's a little tip that I didn't share in the last part of the video. When you disassemble your keyboard, or whatever project you might be working on, take a piece of cardboard and punch in holes that match the patterns of where all the screws go. Then every time you remove one, you just put it back in the hole that correlates with the screw, and that way you can never lose them. The main reason that I did it with this particular keyboard is because when I disassembled it, it had literally half of the screws missing. I had to go into my random bits and bobs drawer and just find some screws that fit. That made things a heck of a lot easier to reassemble, because I now know that that particular screw, there's about 3 holes there, so 1, 2, 3, it goes there. You put it in, and this is incredibly difficult to do left-handed while looking at the camera screen. But yeah, there we go. While the Korg R3 is currently in bits, I thought I'd do the same treatment as I have done to my Triton. We have wood vinyl on the sides. If you look on this side, we have some rather grubby looking plastic, and on the other side we have this. I took a piece of paper, I put it between my legs, and I put the piece of paper on the edge and rubbed with my finger. There you go, just a quick rub on there. Gives you a perfect edge to cut by. And then you end up with one paper template. The reason that you end up with a paper template and not go straight onto the vinyl is because if you cut the vinyl too small, or if you put an edge on it and crease it too much, you'll end up with a crease on your work. Or it'll be too small and you'll have to cut it out and start again. What you end up with after all that is one vinyl template. I'll stick it on the keyboard and show you what it's like.